Good afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Parks and Recreation to order. I am Michelle Cummings-Steele, Chair of the Board. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll move to the appeal of decisions. The Metropolitan Code of Laws. Please take notice that decisions of the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation may be appealed to the Chancery Court of Davidson County for review of a common law writ of certiorari. Any appeal must be filed within 60 days after entry of a final decision by the board. Any person or other entity considering an appeal should consult with an attorney to ensure that time and procedural requirements are met. We'll move now to the consideration of minutes. Hope you all have had an opportunity to read the minutes of our July meeting. Is there a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you so much. It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. If we could be a little bit more quiet in the gallery, please. Are there any referrals from council members present? Director Odom.
I see Councilmember Sandy Ewing here.
And she would like to address the board. You can come forward now. Thank you.
Hello, board
Good
members.
afternoon.
Hello, Director Odom. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it so much. I don't take that for granted, and I try not to abuse this privilege. I wanted to speak briefly about the Belmead Highlands study. I know that there are two groups here today who seek to speak on that later down the line. My reasons are to sort of set the stage a little bit and make a request to all stakeholders. So the Belmead Highlands study, as you all must know, is meant to be a study pulled together by a neutral convener. In planning, we have that neutral convener. They are meant to look at all possible avenues for resolving some very serious problems with traffic, with parking, with increased attendance at Cheekwood. It has, by all accounts and all stakeholders in agreement, become a really serious issue that we must resolve. There are safety issues that we've also pinpointed. There are issues with stormwater. There's issues with how mobility is handled in that general area, including with Percy Warner Park Golf Course, which is a new element that has been added to the picture. We're in the middle of that study. So the mandate that we gave to planning when this was pulled together was to look at every single possible avenue for resolving this whole complex of problems. We asked them to do that without giving any bearing at the moment to what the other realities are that are impinging on those potential solutions, okay? So they're going to come up with a slate of potential solutions, a menu of, as you will, some of which will not be able to be implemented, but which need to be discussed. So the idea is that we come up with this study, it's presented in November, and then we convene a group to have what I hope to be and anticipate to be and expect to be a very civilized and constructive conversation that will end with a set of interrelated solutions that will get us to where we need to be. I think we can all agree that parks is a jewel in the city, that we all love and appreciate this amenity. We all deserve to use it and enjoy it and gain the mental and physical health that it confers. I think we can also all agree that Cheekwood is one of the many additional things that make this city a great place to live. So this is, I guess, an appeal to all stakeholders and all parties to please allow the study to find its bearings, get to a conclusion, and allow planning to present the results of that study without coming to any precipitous conclusions before the study has completed its course. And that is why I've come here today, and I appreciate you bearing with me, and I will now cede the floor to your proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for your words. We agree. We hope that it's a process that we can see through and hear from all parties involved respectfully. All righty, we're going to move to our public comment period. The public comment period is limited to 20 minutes total, and we have 10 people signed up. So we're doing math, right? All right. Persons wishing to provide comment on matters that are germane to items on the agenda must sign up prior to the beginning of the meeting on the sign-up sheet provided at the meeting. The opportunity to provide public comment is offered on a first-come, first-served basis. Comments are limited to a maximum of 2 minutes per person. We do have a timer, and we will be abiding by that time limit. If there are any accommodations needed for individuals with disabilities who wish to be present at this meeting, please request the accommodation through Hub Nashville. 72 hours prior to the scheduled meeting is recommended. We have first Albert Bender. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. And I will read from a prepared statement in addressing the board in reference to the issue of the renaming of Cumberland Park to Wasiota Park, and I shall begin as follows. I wish to express my gratitude to the board for its positive response to our request for the name change of Cumberland Park to Wasiota Park, the ancient Shawnee name for the Cumberland River. This will be a milestone in the history of Nashville that will resonate locally, statewide, and even nationally. To provide a little bit of background, historical background, when the first European visitors, the French, traversed the river in the 1670s, the Shawnees were so numerous at that time, living in villages in the Nashville area, that the French called the waterway the River of the Shawnees. Later, another European visitor, Thomas Walker, named the Cumberland in honor of the Duke of Cumberland, who never even set foot in the area and in fact never even left England. Even with the European naming, it was still known as the Shawnee River for years after Walker's trip. The renaming is so fitting and appropriate in recognizing indigenous history and presence in the Nashville area, both ancient and contemporary. After all, this is still our country. Again, I express my goodwill and gratitude to the board and look forward to a positive response from the naming committee. I shall email you a copy of my prepared response to the board. Thank you again for the opportunity to address the issue.
Thank you so much for being here, and it's really good to see you. We will take this up on the agenda further down. Lorraine Segovia Paz. And please restate your name if I mispronounced it.
Sure. Good afternoon. My name is Lorraine Segovia Paz, and I'm originally from Cusco, Peru, the city where the Incas founded their nation. I made Nashville my home 22 plus years ago. I'm here as the executive director of the NACC Foundation, Our mission includes fostering cultural appreciation, educational, social, and economic advancement, and business success here in Nashville. Speaking from the immigrant perspective, I will tell you that Nashville has people that have migrated from Guatemala, Mexico, and other countries from the Americas that are indigenous descent. In many instances, they do not speak Spanish, only their native languages. And then, that as an immigrants, we go through different phases within that immigrant experience, including finding an identity, not only a human one, but also our immigrant identity. That means finding our roots, connecting with our roots. But also, I'd like to speak with you about the vision that we all have for Nashville. That vision and tourism. In other words, what we want for Nashville to be in those tourist eyes. The Nashville hospitality industry released a new strategic plan that includes several priorities, such as improve the downtown visitors' experience and reputation, attract more international visitors, embrace family-friendly programming, but especially market Nashville's diverse cultural offerings and develop new cultural assets. Renaming Cumberland Park to Wasiota Park, that, by the way, is located in the heart of downtown Nashville, it is not only appropriate. Doing this will recognize a space for those who for many centuries have had their voices, stories, and experiences not just hidden, but ignored. Because the creation of those spaces and their histories have been written by those who were privileged and empowered. Let us all remember that when we talk about Nashville, it should include the indigenous communities. After all, they were here before any of us. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you so much for being here. We're moving to Yuri Kunza.
I think I came on time. Thank you. It's a full house. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon to all. My name is Yuri Kunza, and I'm the president and CEO of the Nashville Area Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'm also a member of the advisory board at Chickwood. I'm also a writer, a multimedia professional, a business leader, a community advocate, but most importantly, I am a proud Nashvilleian. I have spent more than half of my life here in Nashville. As a Hispanic American in Nashville, I have seen the great impact that Chickwood has had in bridging gaps and fostering unity, making significant contributions to the cultural and community landscape of our region. Chickwood is an important resource for the community, hosting important events, very multicultural events, which we should be very, very happy and proud to have them. And programs like the largest Hispanic celebration in Middle Tennessee, El Día de los Muertos is called. They have an unwavering commitment to connecting and enriching the cultural tapestry of our community. As an advisory board member, I've had a front row seat to Chickwood's response to these parking challenges. I have seen them truly listen to feedback from visitors and their neighbors, and know they are committed to working collaboratively with all the stakeholders, and are committed to working with Metropolitan through the neighborhood study to figure out a solution that is in the best interest of the entire community. And I'm proud of them for that. I'm hopeful that this planning process will result in a solution that ensures Chickwood can continue to be a safe and accessible place for all of Nashville to enjoy. It will be a tremendous loss for the entire community if anything in that regard was to change. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Melba Chokoti Eads. Please pronounce your name for the record.
Yes, Melba Chakoti Eads.
I did it right.
You did good. Thank you, thank you. His J is don't go. Certificate goes, and I'll say again, Melba Chakoti Eads. I'm a citizen of the Muskogee Creek Nation of Oklahoma, coming back to the homelands, living here in little old Woodbury, Tennessee, along the northern part of the Trail of Tears, which incidentally came through Nashville. So as we think of indigenous people, we have been removed. There were 500 Muskogee people who walked with the Cherokee on that day in 1838. And so my people were told never look back and never come back. Well, I'm sorry, I'm back. And I'm going to stay back because my grandbabies were born here in Tennessee. And I am very happy to say and to request from each of you to remember our people. And so I request humbly that you consider and give the new name to the park along the Cumberland River, the lands of the Shawnee, which are relatives of Muskogee people. And so it would do us a wonderful remembrance of our people. And so then once again, we will continue marking that trail that came through this big city, because before this was a city, it was indigenous lands, a mound city, a mound on the east bank of the Cumberland. We still claim the historical recognition of that land. We will still continue to ask for a portion of that land and the remembrance of our people. Thank you so much for considering this. Have a great day and week.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Bobby Negron.
So Bobby Negron wasn't able to make it. She sent a video, and if it's okay with you, I'd like to play it. And on the video, you're going to be able to see from the right to the left, Dr. Ella Bacote, who is social emotional learning teacher. Middle, in the middle, Ann Tierno, computer science teacher. And on the right, Bobby Negron, who is a visual art teacher from Paragon Mills Elementary. Thank you.
I'm an SEL teacher here at Paragon Mills Elementary School, and I am gladly being a part of this video to support the efforts of the Indigenous Peoples Coalition of Tennessee to have the Cumberland Park renamed Wasoto Park in honor of the ancient Shawnee name of the Cumberland River. Because I teach SEL, I realize that our students need to be socially aware. When we are made aware of something that our former city leaders may not have known, we need to make it right. We need to honor the indigenous people by renaming the Cumberland River Wasoto Park, so that our children, when they look at us, they can say, our parents did a great thing. Our parents made a wrong right. And so we have an opportunity as citizens of Nashville to speak out on behalf of the indigenous people and to honor them, to honor their history, because their history is our history. We're interwoven together.
Hi everyone, my name is Babila Negron. I'm this year's district teacher of the year, and I teach visual arts at Paragon Mills. I wear this button. It says teach banned books. One of the books that is banned currently here in the state of Tennessee is Fry Bread, and it's a story about a family, indigenous family. So I wear this because even though there might be things in our state, in our nation, that makes it difficult for us to teach the truth, I still feel like I have to do my due diligence. When the first European visitors, the French, traversed the river in the 1670s, the Shawnees were so numerous at that time, living in villages in the Nashville area, that the French called the waterway, the river of the Shawnees. Subsequently, another European visitor in 1758, upon seeing the river, named the Cumberland in honor of the Duke of Cumberland, who never even set foot in the area. In fact, never left England. So
Thank you, and we will put that in the record for Bobby Negron. Angela White.
Good afternoon. My name is Angela White, and I am the Community Achieve Site Manager at Whitsitt Elementary, part of the Metro Nashville Public School System. Today is our first day of school, so thank you for the opportunity to join you. Community Achieves is an MMPS school initiative led by the District Support Services Department, which links students and families to enrichment opportunities and vital community resources. During the last school year, Whitsitt students in pre-K, first grade, third grade, and fourth grade all engaged with programs provided by Cheekwood educators, both at Cheekwood and at our school. The highlight of the many programs was participating in Cheekwood Grows, a hands-on program designed to connect students to the food that they eat by teaching them that they can grow fresh vegetables and herbs. The program welcomes students to Cheekwood twice, once on a field trip and once with their families. Each family receives a 1-year free membership, because we hope that their visit to Cheekwood is just the start of the relationship with the garden. What a gift. Cheekwood is an important resource for the community, hosting engaging events and programs. They provide free educational opportunities for students who might not otherwise have the chance to learn from the kind of hands-on experience that Cheekwood offers. I have seen the faces of students light up when they pick a radish right out of the garden that was just a seed a few weeks ago. They are so eager to continue to learn and find inspiration in the natural world around them. Students love our school garden at Whitsitt. I am hopeful that this planning process will result in a solution that ensures Cheekwood can continue to be a safe and accessible place for all of Nashville to enjoy. Cheekwood works diligently to remove barriers to the community, and I hope that additional barriers won't exist in the future.
Thank you. Jennifer Wang.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Wong. I
apologize.
That's all right. A lot of people say it that way. I am the Director of Financial Innovation and Development for a global climate change nonprofit. Locally, I'm also very involved in the environmental and social spaces. So I serve on the board of the Tennessee Environmental Council, on the board of the Maddox Fund. I founded a meditation group for people of color. And I'm also here as an ally to the Indigenous Peoples Coalition, supporting the renaming of Cumberland Park to Wasiota Park. So one of the things that Nashville has been doing well, I think, recently and can do better is diversity. So there's a lot of diversity here, and I know that Nashville really cares about it. And I think the renaming of this park is a way to honor that diversity, to show that Nashville actually cares about the Indigenous peoples, the Indigenous history of this land. It's racial diversity, it's cultural diversity, and it's also naming diversity. Like, it's Cumberland River and Cumberland Park. We can have a little diversity in what we're naming things as well, I think. I think naming of the park in this location that's downtown is significant, right? It's something that a lot of people will have to say when they say, hey, let's meet at blank park. It's showing that the Indigenous communities in Nashville are still here. They're not a relic of the past, although they've been significantly decreased, as Melba was talking about. So they're still here, and it really shows, it's really an indication that Nashville as a city cares. It's an official renaming of a park. And to me, as someone who moved here from California in 2019, that's important to me to know that people like me who have been marginalized historically have a place in Nashville, and that Nashville actually takes efforts to really acknowledge us. And you know, that's one of the things that's been the kind of the case for marginalized communities in the past is invisibilization. And I think given the history of genocide in this country for Indigenous people, it's important.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Dante Reyna.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Dante Reyna. I'm a PhD student at Vanderbilt, and I served as the Indigenous Scholars Organization president for 2 years. I wanted to speak as a youth and as a Indigenous youth in this country. As youth, we are often quick to forget the histories that bind us to the past. Names carry with them a legacy, much like many of our names have stories. So too do these lands have names and stories. Wasioto, a name that carries the legacy of the original peoples of this land, the Shawnee people. And given this park the name Wasioto, we are not just choosing a word, we are embracing a history and honoring the people who nurtured this land long before many of us arrived. This name is a bridge connecting us to the past, a reminder of the rich cultural history that has been here for centuries. It is a reminder that the land remembers even when the history books forget. It is an acknowledgement of the wisdom, strength, and resilience of the Shawnee people and their deep connection to this place. Names are powerful. They're a way of saying, I see you, I hear you, and I remember you. By utilizing the name Wasioto, we are recognizing the enduring presence of the Shawnee people and their significant contributions to our shared history. We're ensuring that their stories are not forgotten and that their legacy continues to be part of the narrative of this land for our children and for our children's children to remember. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Grace Gadsden.
Thank you. To my honored Indigenous elders, do I have your permission to speak?
Amen.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm Grace Gadsden. I'm a citizen, longtime activist in the community, and I too am from California, where I learned how to ask permission from our elders in the room before I conduct any business or put on any project. I'm here in support and as an ally with my friends here of the Indigenous community, recognizing that the struggle to simply be seen is very important to the healing process. And so part of that is the recognition of the original, shall we say, nomenclature of some of the area spots. And let's take a look at Cumberland Park, which can be named Wasioto Park. And I hope that we can come to an agreement at some point as a point of healing in this journey. In my work, in social work, and also in activism, what we try to do is meet people where they are. And part of that is making sure that everyone who resides here can be seen, and we can accomplish that. And so I believe that with this renaming of this park, we'll start that journey of healing. And so why not recognize those who were stewards and very good stewards of this beautiful state of Tennessee, especially this area, naming it Wasioto Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott Gilliam.
Thank you. It's Scott Gillahan, and I want to talk about the closed gym at West Park. Is that allowed? I don't know if it's on the agenda, but it's been closed for 6 months now. Okay, and now how do I get on the agenda? Do I like email you or something?
For public comment, it has to be germane to the agenda. When we have that on, absolutely come and speak. Otherwise, you can send an email to the Parks Department.
Okay, thank you.
This ends our public comment period. Do want to recognize the attendance of Councilmember Coopin. Are you still here? And if so, do you want to address? I can't see you. Okay. You were hiding. Good afternoon. Good to see you. Do you need to address us or? Okay. Hello.
Well, thanks for recognizing me, even though I was hiding out in the hallway. just want to kind of lend my support. You've heard from a lot of folks here today about Wasiota Park and the renaming, and I know there's a lot of moving parts on the East Bank, and I want to be respectful of all those pieces, but I think that, you've heard from a number of folks that the name came from the Duke of Cumberland, to my understanding, and I don't know if we know his connection to Nashville. But I think that the name gives life to this park. I know there are folks that are excited to take some ownership and take some kind of programming efforts and things like that to liven that park. We know the East Bank is coming along and rejuvenating, so I really appreciate everyone who came out and spoke today. Appreciate these efforts, and I'm excited to hopefully see this continue to move forward. So appreciate y'all's consideration.
Thank you, and thank you so much for being here. Good to see you. All righty. We are going to move to old business. 06-24-02, board to approve open range salary increase and cost of living salary increase consistent with Metro employees for the Director of Parks as per the 2024-25 Metropolitan Government Pay Plan. The Finance Committee met this morning and voted to approve a 10% merit increase this year to begin addressing significant pay disparity that exists across metropolitan government, with further adjustment in the coming year to come to full parity. The committee did meet. The vote was 6-4-0 against. I will accept a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Then properly moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All righty, seeing none. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you so much. The motion passes. We'll move now to the consent agenda. We'll take the consent agenda in its entirety. I will accept a motion.
Second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes. Moving to new business. 08-24-02 Boyle Investment Company, DBA Capital View, requests acceptance of a proposed mural for the dog park at Frankie Pierce Park valued at approximately $5,000. The mural, intended to enhance the aesthetic appeal and community atmosphere of the park, must receive prior approval from the Parks Department before any work begins. Additionally, the Parks Department will retain authority to remove the mural if it is deemed necessary in the future. This measure ensures that the artwork aligns with park standards and community expectations, while maintaining the flexibility to address any concerns that may arise. All costs and maintenance for the mural will be paid for directly by Capital View. There's no required match or other obligation by Metro Parks. This is Council District 19. We will defer this to the Public Art Committee. 08-24-03, staff in coordination with the Metro Arts Commission requests approval to add a mural at Napier Community Center. The artwork is sponsored by NASA in partnership with Metropolitan Nashville Public Schools, Napier Elementary School. This project will bring awareness to the community of how NASA is using technology to track and keep children safe in traumatic weather events. The work will also present an opportunity to bring positive attention to the Napier community. There is no required match or other obligation required by Metro Parks. This is Council District 17. Director Oldham, is there any further information on this?
No additional information. Staff recommends approval.
Okay. I will accept a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you so much. Is there any discussion?
Quick question.
Okay.
The former one was sent to the art committee, but this one is also art, or is it because it's?
Right. So this one for Napier Community Center, we've been working with the Arts Commission already and the district council member, and we know what the mural is going to be. The previous one is a proposed mural for review and determination by to make sure it is.
Thank you. Clarification.
Okay. Yeah.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? The motion passes. 08-24-04, staff requests acceptance of a donation not to exceed $25,000 from the Metropolitan Historical Commission Foundation to fund the cost estimating services for Atifama Archaeological Park Master Plan implementation. There is no required match or other obligation required by Metro Parks associated with this donation. This is Council District 17. Director Oldham, is there a staff recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
I'll accept a motion. Thank you so much. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? The motion passes. 08-24-10, the Friends of Warner Park requests approval to officially name an area of approximately 6 acres in Percy Warner Park, Claire's Meadow, in honor of the late Claire Armistead. In 1987, Claire Armistead recruited the support of others and established the Friends of Warner Parks organization that is now a model for public-private partnerships. This is Council District 34, and we are deferring this to the naming committee. Did I skip some? What did I skip? Oh, Lord. Hold on, y'all.
Bunch of gifts. Should get 05.
I'm missing it. I printed wrong. Oh! Let me go back. Which one did I just do? What did I do? 06, 10, 10. Thank you. I flipped wrong. I'm gonna number all my pages going forward. 08-24-05, staff requests acceptance of a $1,000 general donation from Jamie Day and Cheney Mosley for the Wellness, Community Recreation, and Cultural Arts Division. This is Council District Citywide. Director Odom, is there a staff recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
I'll accept the motion. Thank you so much. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The motion passes. 08-24-06, staff requests approval to amend the current letter of understanding between Metro Parks and the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department to include a 24-month lease extension allowing temporary use and occupancy of portions of Percy Warner Park Equestrian Center campus for use by Metro Mounted Patrol Unit, Council District 3. Director Odom, is there a staff recommendation?
Staff recommends approval, and Captain Greg Davis is here to answer any questions if you have them.
Do you all need to hear from Captain Davis? Thank you so much. I'll accept a motion. Is there a second? It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you, Captain Davis, for being there. 08-24-07, staff requests approval of a memorandum of understanding between Metro Parks, the National Endowment for the Humanities, NEH, the Tennessee Historic Preservation Office, Vanderbilt University, and Middle Tennessee State University to conduct research on descendant-led excavation at the Reconstruction-era Black Civil War veteran community at Bass Street, Fort Negley Park. This is Council District 17. Director Odom, is there a staff recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
I'll accept a motion.
Second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just noting my recusal.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Henley is recusing. Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. The motion passes. 08-24-08, Friends of Metro Animal Care and Control, MACC, requests a permission to host a pickleball tournament at the Centennial Sportsplex with a waiver of court fees, tennis court, and to raise funds for a Metro organization, MACC. Council, this is Council District 21. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
I will accept the motion. Thank you so much. Is there any discussion?
As the resident athlete on the board, what is pickleball?
I was going to say, we approve this every year, but he's new. Go ahead, because I don't remember.
It's pickleball, but it's for dogs
and cats.
I was getting ready to say, I almost said people with paws, but it's to benefit.
So it's pickleball.
It's a creative name.
Are the pets playing, or is this benefiting?
No.
It's benefiting. It's benefiting.
Got it. Okay.
Benefiting our pet friends.
Getting understanding. Okay. I'm trying to figure it out. I've never seen it. I got to educate myself.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Very good question. I thought I knew. Where am I? No. Do we need to vote? Did y'all vote? 8. We voted. Thank you. Number 9. It bees this way sometimes, I'm sorry. 08-24-09, All for Him Ministry requests permission to be on site at 185 Anthus Drive, Nashville, Tennessee, Wharf Park, in the gravel area on Sundays from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. to provide outreach resources for the unhoused community. Outreach would include fellowship, food, and addiction recovery services. This is Council District 19. Director Odom, is there a staff recommendation?
Staff recommends approval. The Office of Homeless Services also supports this event, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you so much. Is there I'm sorry, I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? The motion passes. It's not an event, it's ongoing. Got it, okay. I just needed to look back for myself. So we did number 10. We are now moving to 0824-11. The Indigenous Peoples Coalition requests approval to rename Cumberland Park Wasioto Park, the original Shawnee name of the Cumberland River. This is Council District 19. This will be deferred to our naming committee. I want to say that this will require community input and community meeting separate from this, and we will share details with the community on how to provide input, and that will be publicized through Parks resources, through our social media and emails. 08-24-12, overview of the annual monitoring facility uses report for E.S. Rose Park Sports Complex. This is Council District 17. Director Odom, is there a staff recommendation?
It's just a report and an update. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Holmes, John Holmes will offer that for us today.
Thank you.
Actually, oops, I'm sorry. Actually, all I'm going to do is step up here and introduce Wayne Evans, who did all the work to put this together. Wayne, please step up here. He did a great job. He does it each year, works with Belmont to put this together. So, Wayne Evans.
Thanks. As usual, I appreciate the opportunity to come here and talk a little bit about the annual report. I'll try to be brief for today. It's a 13-page document. I won't read it all for you today, but if you have any questions, feel free to stop me at any time. It started in 2007 when we entered the agreement with Belmont and Metro Parks to build the facility there. I'll just touch on some of the highlights of some of the aspects of the report that people are usually interested in. One's the usage. You see the usage page, and it shows where Belmont uses, like baseball, around 16%, 12% on softball. We use similar for ours. If you look down, it says usage for community. Community usage is actually what we rent from our department. We issue permits for those. And then at the bottom, the line at the bottom where it's like 68% for baseball, 84% softball, that's where it's just non-programmed, free, open for anybody in the neighborhood to go and use. And the next page, page 5, has a list of our community users. It shows we've got a variety of people that we issue permits to from Metro schools. You can see middle schools, Whites Creek High School, Hume Fogg. Our Parks Police use it to train for some of their physical activities. We have a lot of different users we issue permits for. If you look at the expenses page on page 6, that shows where this year they had just under $200,000 of maintenance and improvement expenses. That'll vary widely from year to year. If you remember, like last year, it was around $2 million because they had redone the soccer field. And the one next year will be closer to $2 million as well because they're spending $1.5 million. They're currently in the project of returfing the baseball field. So that'll vary widely, but that's pretty consistent on the other expenses. One thing that's beneficial to us and the area schools is the lease payments that's part of the agreement to Metro. As you can see, we're going into the 15th year of this agreement, and this year there will be a $75,600 payment, of which $60,000 will go to Parks, and $15,000 will be split equally to the PTOs of the elementary school, Carter Lawrence Elementary, and Rose Park Middle. And if you flip over to page 8, it shows how some of those funds are used. The schools always put these to good use. Carter Lawrence used the funds for field trips for students. They had award celebrations at the end of the year and did a lot of great things with those funds. Rose Park Middle They bought air purifiers for all the classrooms, had a back-to-school breakfast. They also provided transportation for a trip to the National Museum of African American Music, and they also used it for financial literacy incentives for the kids at the program at school as well. If you look at page 9, it breaks down how the funds were used with our recreation program at Easley Community Center. It's used for a wide variety of benefits over there. The youth sports, rec supplies, field trips. You can see they had $15,000 worth of field trips. And this is not just for the kids in the program, but also for seniors as well. The agreement originally lined out that the money going to the Easley Community Center would primarily be used for seniors and for the youth programming. Utility payments is on page 10, where you can see Belmont pays about 70% of the utilities over the course of the year. In the summertime, when we're only programming it and Belmont's away for those 2 months, Metro pays 100% of the utilities, and it's broken down as the months that Belmont's there, they pay most or all during those months. Another page that's usually interesting to people is if you go to the last page, it talks about the scholarships. Belmont created the E.S. Rose Scholarship in memory of Reverend E.S. Rose, who was a pastor at the Greater Bethel African American Episcopal Church. He is a well-known community activist, and in his honor, they named the scholarship after him. The scholarship awards 2 4-year full tuition scholarships each academic year to two students there. So at any given time, there's usually 8 on scholarship on this program. Selections based on academic accomplishment, leadership in school and community, and demonstrated financial need. And the neat thing about this is the priority is given to students living in closest proximity to Edge Hill. So it's usually kids from that neighborhood that are able to attend Belmont that wouldn't otherwise. One thing that they do, and I'll say this, they're required to do, the kids in this program are required to do 20 hours of community service work in the community, in the Edge Hill neighborhood. And from what I understand, they all do more than that because they're so thankful for the opportunity. And they know they can make a huge difference. And you can see for the year of 23-24, for that year, 8 students received over $275,000 in funds for that program. And that's all I have. If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Are there any questions from the board? Fun fact. I have a fun fact, Wayne.
Yes, Dr. Steele.
I was just elected president of the PTSO at Rose Park.
Oh, congratulations. So I'll be reaching out to you for information this spring.
We appreciate the funding. All righty, let's see. 08-24-13, staff requests approval of a dedicated conservation greenway easement on property at 1231 Pawnee Trail, parcel 053-00001-900, overlooking the Cumberland River. This greenway easement will conserve 1.97 acres of open space and provide for future expansion of the Cumberland River Greenway. The easement dedication was a condition of Metro Council's approval of preliminary 2023 SP 036001 for a new residential development. This is Council District 9 and will be deferred to the Acquisition Committee. 082414, staff requests approval of a dedicated conservation greenway easement along Trace Creek located at 8033 Highway 100 on parcel 15600003300 for a future connection to the Harpers River Greenway. Dedication of the easement was conditioned by Metro Council's approval of preliminary 2022 SP 041002 for new commercial development, and that's Council District 35, deferring to Acquisition Committee. 08-24-15, staff requests approval of a dedicated conservation greenway easement and participation agreement for a new segment of Whites Creek Greenway located at 4267 Ashland City Highway on parcel 06960C04500C0. Dedication of the easement was conditioned by Metro Council's approval of preliminary 2022 SP 041002 for a new residential development, and that is Council District 1. I lost my place again, y'all. And we're deferring that to acquisition. Oh, there it is. 08-24-16, Mr. Jackson Moore, representative of Bellmead Highlands Safety Group, requests to address the board regarding the Bellmead Highlands study. This is Council District 34.
Thank you.
Thank you.
3 minutes or 2 minutes? Three? Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Jackson Moore. I live in the Bellmead Highlands, where I've been a resident since 2013. I'm here today to represent our neighborhood. We have a Bellmead Highlands Neighborhood Safety Group, which is comprised of more than 400 homes in Davidson County that are in very close proximity to Percy Warner Park, with several of the neighbors here today. First, I'd like to say, on behalf of myself and our neighbors, we appreciate, your service to the city's park system. Nashville's blessed with wonderful parks, and we truly appreciate the vision and hard work required to create, protect, and preserve our public parks. The purpose of my remarks today is to voice neighborhood concerns about the traffic and parking conditions that are overwhelming Page Road, Forest Park Drive, and other small streets in our neighborhood, many streets that border Percy Warner Park. There are significant safety concerns for park users and neighbors that are only getting worse as the city continues to grow. I have provided a handout for your reference if you want to look at that as I go over a few things. Some of our concerns are that Forest Park Drive, the main entrance into Cheekwood, is a narrow 2-lane neighborhood road that has become the primary entrance to Cheekwood, which now has more than 400,000 annual visitors, an increase from 175,000 annual visitors in 2008. And these same visitors must exit these same roads. There are no signs of growth slowing down. Cheekwood has transitioned from a relatively sleepy botanical garden into a booming, multi-pronged business with frequent events, including 6 weeks of holiday lights, frequent weddings, and evening concerts that often run late into the night. Attendance has increased dramatically, especially from 2019 to 23, in which time revenues have increased 229%. While we applaud Cheekwood's success, the consequences of their growth must be addressed. A traffic engineering study conducted by Kimley Horn for Metro Planning, recently made available to our group, shows that Page Road and Forest Park have 3 times the amount of traffic that is acceptable for a neighborhood street, and that Cheekwood is the primary driver of this traffic. Page and Forest Park have become access points for buses, service delivery trucks, and even 18-wheelers at times. These vehicles are too large for the infrastructure, frequently clog our streets, and create hazardous conditions for walkers and bikers at the parks. In response to Metro Planning's design and mobility study about traffic calming, more than 500 Bellmead Highland residents have signed a petition asking the city and Cheekwood to strongly consider Cheekwood's primary entrance ultimately be moved to Highway 100. At this point, Metro Planning continues to state that a permanent parking for Cheekwood, structured or unstructured, is being considered on park property at the top of Forest Park Drive. A structured garage near Forest Park Drive would be a stormwater nightmare and an untenable traffic problem for neighborhood residents, and is not in the best interest of the park system. I think that a relatively brief history of the memorandums of understanding, or MOUs, should be addressed with the board. In 1990, on November, well, I'll kind of finish here. I'll just say that Cheekwood has been giving short-term rights to use our park land for 29 years. 29 years. They've been getting multiple agreements, and we really would like to see this board address some alternative parking solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your time, and thank you for the ways that you engaged us. Are there any questions for Mr. Moore? Okay, in consideration of and thank you for the visual. In consideration of the Bellmead Highlands mobility study that will be completed in the fall, in November, and recommendations will be back in January of 2025. And so we have all of that information and we'll be considering it. We will move now to special presentations. You have 7 minutes for special presentations. Ms. Jane McLeod, President, CEO of Cheekwood, is here to provide a progress update regarding Cheekwood's development of parking to the board.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to make a presentation today. I would like to welcome to the podium Cheekwood's board chair, Ronald Roberts, who will be speaking on behalf of the entire Cheekwood Board of Trustees. Thank you.
After you. We didn't coordinate this part. All right. Good afternoon, and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you today. I will say that I'm a little disappointed. I was looking forward to the dogs playing pickleball. I'm going to move past that and move forward with today's presentation. I want to thank, and I'm not sure if Yuri's still here, but Yuri and Ms. White, because what they did was something that I want to share today is the fact it's good to hear from people that actually benefit from what's going on at Cheekwood. There's a lot of different things going on, a lot of different studies and things of that nature, but sometimes it's good to hear from the people that are actually benefiting from the organization. So I thank them both for their words. I'm not going to keep you long today. I think we have 7 minutes. I hope I don't take up all that time. I've got 3 points. I'm going to hit those 3 points, and then I'll be done. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. My first point is simply thank you to Metro Parks. As Mr. Jackson said, that you have been extending the MOU repeatedly for a number of years, and we appreciate that. We really do. Cheekwood's relationship with Metro Parks goes back to 1928, and it continues through to today. So sometimes it's just good to take a moment, take a breath, and say thank you. So we thank you for all that you've done. Now, we're very well aware of the challenges that come with our growth. We know that, and we're continuing to try to work with that, and we're trying to work collaboratively with all the stakeholders, including the neighbors. And our goal is to work together to try to find a solution to this problem. Now, it's been mentioned multiple times, the Bill Meade Highland study, and I'm going to repeat something that Councilwoman Ewing said. What we're asking is for patience. Let's see what happens with the study. I think it's supposed to be done by the end of the fall, it's a report in January. What we're advocating is let's see what happens with the study and then move on from there. So that's one of the things we're asking for. So that's my first point, my first part. My second point is a deeper dive into parking. Parking is an existential issue for Cheekwood. It's 60% of our revenue. Basically, the gate, the people that come into Cheekwood, that's how we sustain the institution. And what we're looking to do now is to maintain our current numbers. We're not looking to double or triple or to grow exponentially. What we're doing is we want to come up with a solution that allows us to continue to maintain where we are now. Because in order to maintain where we are now, that's how we continue to serve the communities that Ms. White was talking about, that Yuri was talking about. One of the things we've been very intentional about at Cheekwood is reaching out to the entire Nashville community. That's why we have programs like Destination Cheekwood and Nashville Grows with Metro Schools. We want to get children involved in all the things that are going on at Cheekwood. When I was in elementary school years and years and years ago, I came on a field trip to Cheekwood. And I was exposed to things that I would never have been exposed to without that. And now I'm board chair. I'm not saying they connect, but it's really interesting. But the fact that we're reaching out to those organizations, and then we're doing cultural celebrations. And Yuri mentioned El Dia, but we also have the Black Arts Bash and Japanese moon viewing. So what we're trying to do at Cheekwood is we're trying to make sure that everyone in the Nashville community feels welcome. And with that comes challenges. And what we want to do is to work together to come to those challenges. So that's my second point. My third point is on-site parking. We realize that parking is a challenge, and we realize it's Cheekwood. We have to work on that. So what we're trying to do is to come up with on-site parking options. We actually had a proposal in October of 2022 about on-site parking, and it was construction of an underground parking garage. Now, understandably, that met with a lot of resistance from the neighborhood because of the fact that Cheekwood butts up against the neighborhood. So we understand that, and that's understandable. But we're continuing to work for options and look for other ways to do things. We want the board to know that we understand this and that we are working to come up with solutions. We've actually done a couple of things. I guess last year or right after the pandemic, we came up with time ticketing. And time ticketing, basically, if you want to come to Cheekwood, you can come between 12 and 2 or 2 and 4, because we want to address the fact that we don't want everybody showing up in the neighborhood at the same time. So we're trying to do those kind of things as we continue to look for options. But I want to, again, go back to something that Councilwoman Ewing said, and this is probably the crux of what I want to say today, is we're asking for understanding from all parties. And we want to give the study a chance to be completed, because we don't know what's going to come out. There are going to be multiple options. At that point, once the study's done, we can sit down as a community, look at those options, and then come up with what the best next steps could be. So with that, I will stop talking. I've hit point 1, point 2, and point 3, and open it up to any questions you may have.
Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Roberts. We appreciate you. Good to see you. Are there any questions from the board regarding the presentations or what you've heard?
I have a question. I think
Yes.
the ask is, as I understand it, is more time. Is there a range of time? Is there a period of time? Is there some specifics that the board is being asked to consider?
Yes. So the Bellmead Highlands study time frame is my understanding that, well, from the letter from, I can't find my papers today, but from the Planning Commission, what's her name? Lucy Kemp sent a letter stating that here it is. There's remain several steps that involve additional due diligence from the consultants and require appropriate community and stakeholder input in order for the process to conclude and best serve the community, time framing extending into early 2025. The study will be completed in November of 2024 with recommendations, is my understanding, coming forth in January as a time frame. The MOU does expire in December, but we've been asked to consider the study and those recommendations.
My question is related to the safety concerns. What has Cheekwood done to address those in the immediate?
I'll give a real quick surface answer, and then I'm going to ask Jane or Beth to come and talk about that. We are very well aware of those things, and we know that there are some times that we did not do it as well as we need to be doing it. And so what we've done is when those things are drawn to our attention, we come up with actual concrete plans to address it. So I'm going to stop talking and let Beth or Jane take that answer.
Sure. We invest annually about $250,000 in parking attendance to basically be through the entire area where the parks are coming in. On extremely busy days like El Dia, which is typically our busiest day of the entire year, we have Metro police officers there. We now have a camera installed at the front gate so that we can constantly monitor if there are any issues happening. It's actually on the desk of the Chief Operating Officer, Beth Murdoch, who's here, so she literally sees everything that's going on. So we are very invested in the safety of everyone who comes, every visitor, and anyone who uses that entrance.
One additional question for me, we keep talking about the parking, but the traffic is a major concern for residents. And so you've done the time tickets, but how many people does that accommodate, your time ticketing, but what have you done to address the traffic that is coming through the neighborhood, coming into Cheekwood?
Okay, Jane.
Well,
I will say that one of the things that that the study is looking at is actually traffic and parking. So we want to see not only what we're doing, but we want to see if there's some others. But I'll let Jane answer that specifically.
That is a crucial point of the Bellmead's traffic and mobility studies to really look at it. The way we've addressed it is we implemented time ticketing during the pandemic, which was our highest attended year. We have dropped since then, and we found that that was a great way to control the traffic. So we know pretty much how long anybody is going to stay for whatever particular program, so we know when the lots will turn. So we have time ticketing throughout the day. Every single day, we keep that in place 365 days of the year, regardless of whether we're busy or not. So there's no confusion. Everyone knows they must have a pre-purchased time ticket in order to be able to come to Cheekwood. And that generally moderates the traffic so that it doesn't back up. We did have one incident this summer where we did have a backup at the opening of our classic car show because we had a new attendant at the guest services who was saying hello to everyone. And so while the cars were moving, they were moving very, very slow. We have implemented a new process since then that we actually open our gates 30 minutes before our public opening time. So at no point in time will cars ever wait for that gate to lift. It will be going through, again, the gates open 30 minutes before any arrival time. So we've addressed that issue. But we do realize that did happen in June.
Okay, so with the 30-minute pre-time, are you saying that you all are seeing a decrease in traffic into the neighborhood?
What we're seeing is we're moderating it so that not everybody comes at once. So if you have 1,000 people coming during the day, they're not 1,000 people, they can't come at once. We spread them out so that it matches the timing that we can turn our parking lot so you never have a backup. And it reduces the number of people that are coming. I mean, we sell out regularly, probably almost every weekend during our peak times we sell out because we only sell for what we can accommodate and turn.
Yeah, we basically have set a cap.
Yeah,
based on
everything's
the park.
capped.
Another thing that I've seen come through is about the delivery trucks, and I think that those are maybe going through the neighborhood and not, is there a designated space that they're supposed to go through?
Almost everything that we can possibly divert, we now divert to Cheek Road. Over the summer, we have diverted absolutely every single vehicle except for the trash truck that serves the dumpster at the front entrance by Botanic Hall, UPS and the mail, because that's our U.S. address, so they have to come in that way. And we've really diverted everything to the back gate. Once we hit harvest at Cheekwood, and we have thousands of little kids about this big running around the property, we can no longer move trucks through the back entrance all the way through the center of Cheekwood back to Bott Hall. It's just not safe for all those little kids, which is what we're doing right now. If a truck comes in the back gate and has to get to the front where our major Massey Auditorium and events are held, we are putting a person or a cart in front of that truck and walking it and driving it all the way through the property, which we can do right now because it's not our busiest time. But during harvest at Cheekwood and LD and those days when we've got, like I said, half of our visitors are this tall, we will have to route some trucks that serve Botanic Hall down Forest Park. There's just not a way to get around that at this point. But in all of our school buses, all of our tour buses, all of our staff, volunteers, any kind of trucks that are servicing a First Learning Center, the mansion, anything on the First Learning Center courtyard, those are all coming in the back gate. So we're doing everything we possibly can to divert those trucks.
Anything else from the board? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Actually, I think this is more directed to us and not our presenters, but again,
Okay.
I want to be very clear. We have a letter, and I read the letter, and it says early 25, and then again, that's when we're getting presented recommendations. That's not when we're getting presented solutions. And so I just want to be very mindful of what this means in terms of time in that conversation and what the expectations. I think there's a lot of people here that are wanting to understand the expectations. And I'm not saying we have those answers right now, but I do want to just be clear as a board. I think there's some consideration we need to take into the ranges of time that we're being given from external parties, right? This is an exercise, and I think it was expressed as to why it's important. It's an external party, a third party that's non-biased. But we are recognizing that and having some timeframes that are fairly general. And again, that's just providing us with information, not necessarily considering time for action and deliberation prior to that action. So I just wanted to make sure that I said that. I don't know if there's an action that needs to be taken as a result of that, but I just wanted to make sure my fellow board members were thinking of that as we hear this.
I believe there is an action that needs to be taken, and we can put that on the agenda for September, for our next agenda item. Okay. All righty. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time. All those who have come to speak into this issue, thank you for your emails. We have read them, and there is an action that needs to be taken.
May I make just one comment?
Yes.
I've been around this whole thing for many, many years.
Yeah.
And what has happened over many, many years is there's been a lack of planning. I'm so glad there is a planning study. What has gotten this to be the situation it is has been a lack of planning over a long period of time, and it just sort of grew up to be what it is now. and decisions over time had been simply to continue to kick the can down the road. I think our board, to the extent our board is involved, there'll be other parties involved, we need to seek permanent solutions as opposed to temporary steps to satisfy the neighbors and all the constituents. And so I'm glad this study is going to take place. I'm sure there'll be short-term things we're going to have to do simply to address what Ed has just alluded to. But I think we as a board need to seek, to the extent we can, permanent solutions to this for the good of the city and all the constituents involved.
Thank you so much for those comments. Cheekwood is a jewel in our community, and we are thankful for it. It has grown in ways that we could not have imagined, and so we do need to figure out the best alternatives and opportunities for all involved, and so we'll be looking to do that. We're going to move now to Park Police Division to present annual update to the board. Captain Greg Davis, you get to speak this time.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Well, my name is Greg Davis, and I want to wish you all a good afternoon, and just point out that the Park Police are the kind of the public safety division, if you will, of the Metro Parks and Recreation Department. And what we're responsible for, and I know most of you probably all know this, but there's close to 180 parks or properties that the Parks Department is comprised of, about 15,000 acres, maybe a little more. And for context, that's about the size of Mount Juliet, if anybody ever gets out that way. So that's a city about that size that these officers are patrolling and policing every day. And on top of that, about 99 miles of greenway that we're very proud of, that we try to patrol on a regular basis, either by bike, car, if it allows, or UTV. I have with me today, well, I guess Lieutenant, there he is, and being shy back there, but I want to bring a couple of people with me, because if it weren't for the people that we have helping us do that, then that job would be much harder. But Officer Cartier? Yes, sir. Sorry, I stumbled up there. I still get nervous doing this, but she's one of our newest members. She graduated the police academy back in October, got out on her own, and has been policing on her own since about April. And then on the flip side of that, Sergeant Thompson, he's been with us since 2006. He's tasked with a lot of things, providing feedback from the field, from patrol, as well as occasionally training some of our newer officers. I just wanted to bring them here to thank them in front of everybody for one thing, and then also introduce them to the board. And Lieutenant Brian Irvin, I'm not real sure how long he's been here, but I know it's been a long time. But he truly is my right hand and helps me navigate that bridge between the Metro Police Department and the Parks Department. Right now, we are comprised of about 19 people. That includes a trainee that just started the academy last Thursday, and one pre-hire that helps us out in the office until she's ready to start the academy. So part of the selection process includes civil service testing. There's a written portion of that, but what they have to accomplish first is the physical portion, comprised of an obstacle course where they have to successfully navigate about 3 or 4 obstacles. And once they pass that section, they're able to move on to that written civil service test. A rigorous background check once they pass those initial portions. This portion can take up several months. A lot of that depends on the timely feedback that they get from the applicants and their engagement in that and providing clear and complete information. The background check includes a criminal background check, as you might imagine, but we also look into your work history as well as your personal references and character references. And once they actually move into the training portion, it's 20 weeks at the Metro Nashville Police Training Academy. They are trained right alongside of their MMPD counterparts. So they go through the same day-for-day, task-for-task training that MMPD officers go through. The photo on the right there is Officer Bryant. Here's our newest addition. He is still riding with a training officer. He graduated back on July 2nd. And I think he's related to somebody else that works here. But anyway, but he is our newest addition as of right now. One of, or the only specialized unit that we offer is our mounted unit. This is our most conspicuous arm of our community outreach. Yeah, They really enjoy getting out there and doing demonstrations for just about anybody. This is at Shelby Park at one of their summer programs. And the horses are usually a big hit with the kids, and that's Officer Adamberger and Officer Shelton with their partners there in that photograph. Oh, some of those pictures are kind of faded out. But I just want to put this slide in to point out some of the other tools that we use to get to patrol in those areas that I talked about earlier. But upper left, obviously patrol vehicles. Every police department's got some patrol vehicles. And then to the upper left, or upper right, I'm sorry, is a UTV. Those come in handy when we start to get into those trails, like out at Percy Warner or Beeman or some of the greenways that are a little too narrow for a vehicle. Bottom left, bikes. Every officer that comes through within a practical amount of time after getting out of the police training academy, we try to get them through a bike certification class. So they have that tool under their belt, and they can use those tools as they patrol mostly in and around downtown and, again, the greenways. And there on the bottom right, I included that because we always like to see really good feedback from the community when our officers get out there and do the good things. This is a post that came out of the Madison Community Center. Officer De Leon, at the time, he was still really new. I think that was, it says 2 days there, but it's been longer ago than that. I actually saved that screenshot. But he went out there, engaged a group of children, and actually ran back out real quick, bought a stack of pizzas, and brought them in for all the kids as they were there for their summer programming. So some of the things we don't really like to talk about, but it's there, right? That's why we exist, is crime. The biggest thing that affects our parks is thefts from motor vehicles or car break-ins. We have about 81 year-to-date from the parks, and most of those occur in the afternoons as folks are getting off from work, going out and hitting those trailheads to go for their daily run, walk, or whatever, the park or on the greenway. How we deal with that is enhanced patrols. I examine the temporal data that's associated with that and try to get the people in the right place at the right time. Also on the bottom right there, I have a picture of one of our Sky Cops. We only have 2 right now, but I try to get those out in those most affected areas. It's a really high visibility tool. It's got the same decal package as our cars do with the flashing blue light, so it really draws attention. But it also allows us to follow up on things if we need to solve some of these crimes. As far as initiatives, I have a Park Smart poster over there. That's one that actually MNPD came up with. That's one of the tools we use, or one of the messages we like to push out in our PSA videos. And there's a couple at the Metro Nashville Network on YouTube. If you want to go view those, you might see somebody there that you recognize. And talking about those initiatives, some other safety initiatives that we like to talk about. And I've got Office of Homeless Services. We engage them quite a bit. We always communicate with them whenever we go into the parks and we see an encampment or someone that's needing to live somewhere other than a home, specifically here in our parks. We use that office to connect them with the resources they might need, whether it is housing, food, things of that nature. And on a pretty regular basis, we work with them down at the Gay Street Connector on Monday nights at 7 o'clock. There's a big outreach event that takes place down there every week, and I usually try to have 1 or 2 officers there to assist with that outreach project. Last slide. Hopefully I made it in under time, but on the left there is a recruitment poster. I had to take this opportunity to have this up on the screen, especially on Channel 3. If you're watching from home, there's a QR code down there that you can use to get a little more information about us if you want to do that, whether it's work or whatever else. There's my contact information. If anybody needs that, write that down. You can always reach out to me if you have any needs from the park police. But that's my presentation. Comments, questions?
Thank you so much for being here. Any comments from the board?
Thank you all for what you do. We really appreciate it. One comment, just because I wasn't on the board before and during the time that the Brookmead Park encampment came about, just want to reiterate, we don't need people encamped in parks. Thank you for making sure that doesn't happen. Yes, our board's position is, I know homelessness is an enormous problem, but it's not a problem with the Parks Department. People do not need to be encamped in parks, and we need to make sure that does not happen.
Yeah, these folks are very attentive to that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other observations, questions? Thank you for your time. We're going to move to Friends of Shelby Park to present an annual update to the board. Rebecca Rotz. Sorry, Rebecca Rotz.
Thank you. And I'll say just before, not on time, that Metro Parks Police has been really helpful. We've had some issues in Shelby lately and have been really great to work with, keeping us up to date, keeping them up to date on things that are happening. So very appreciative of them and all the Metro Parks staff. All right, so my name is Rebecca Rotz. I am the Executive Director for Friends of Shelby Park and Bottoms. Happy to be back again to report on what we've been up to. Just a little refresher, Shelby Park and Shelby Bottoms together is Nashville's third largest park, very central in the city, connecting through greenways to so many other parks and so many recreation opportunities available. We currently have a board of 16, and we are now up to 3 full-time staff members. Very excited to have full-time help on volunteer and community programs. We were established in 2008, so this will be our 16th birthday as an organization. Our mission is to preserve, enhance, and promote the park, really for everyone in the community to appreciate and enjoy. And the main focus of my presentation today will be on our new strategic plan. We've been working on this for the first half of the year and wanted to update you all on where we're headed. But first, where we kind of started with this plan is looking at where we've been. And Shelby has a very interesting and varied history. Before it was a city park, it was a private park that the land development company that was building all the homes in East Nashville operated. And they had all of these fun balloon ascensions and concerts and things to try and get people out to see Shelby Park and to buy a house. When they were done doing that, they sold the property, the city bought it, invested a lot of money in it, but unfortunately when it opened on July the 4th, 1912, it opened as a segregated park. It was only for the white community, and this article here on the right talks about an event that's happening in the park with performers in blackface. There was a pool behind the Shelby Park Community Center that was closed in the early 60s when pools across the city were closing rather than integrate the pools. So it's a storied past, but it's also a good past. There's been a lot of investment from the city, from the community in this park since that time. There are, with the addition of Shelby Bottoms, all these amazing trails, park facilities. There's a lot of excitement around this park and a lot of wonderful investment from the city and from the community and from the Friends group. These look better on my computer screen, but we've brought out a lot of volunteers, we've invested in park improvements, and we've really started to host a lot more community events, free activities, and expanding our Park Explorers program where we get out into schools and invite school children out to use the park. So that's really what we've been up to. And then as part of this plan, we did a lot of outreach to the community. So we sent surveys out to park staff, we sent surveys out to park users, donors, our volunteers, the park stakeholders, because we have so many internal park stakeholders, the folks that run the Little League and the folks that run Vinnie Links and the Community Center and the Nature Center. So trying to gather all that input to figure out now what. Okay, given all of that, where are we headed? So we wanted to first think about what is the problem or the issue that we're trying to solve. And we all know that urban parks are essential for community well-being, but that historically marginalized groups remain underrepresented in park activities and especially in park decision-making. And that can lead to social disparities and unequal distribution of park benefits. So our plan and our solution to this problem is that prioritizing access and inclusivity, we can not only address historical inequities, but we can ensure that parks programming and improvements are created to meet the needs of the entire community, which will really foster belonging and ownership. And in this time where we're more and more divided, the parks can continue to remain a place where everyone comes together. So our big goal is that Friends of Shelby Park and Bottoms will become a national model for activating inclusive community support for the care of the park, really leaning into the community piece of this. And we are looking at 3 different pillars to focus our work around: partnerships, community mobilization, and park accessibility. So within this category, this pillar of partnerships, What we're really working on is to build partnerships with organizations and community groups that can connect us to a lot of communities that have been left out. So that those partners can then report back to us that the individuals they serve are using the park more frequently. So some of the initiatives within that is expanding our Park Explorers program, working with more schools that represent kids. Deepening our partnerships with the Martha O'Brien Center in particular. We've been growing that, and we've been talking to them more recently about how we can host their events. We actually just were at the Martha O'Brien Center Back to School event. We were at the Kirkpatrick Community Center Back to School event, so really, really honing in on making those connections. And then enhancing our free community programs, because when it's free, it's open to all, and making sure that those are built on expressed community needs, voiced needs, as opposed to us just coming up with the programs. Okay, so under community mobilization, we want to ensure the majority of our initiatives are designed and executed with community volunteers or those partner organizations. So continuing to utilize our volunteer program to accomplish projects based on community input. One big thing we really want to do is to develop a diverse advisory group to help us solicit community input and to help us develop and execute those projects. And then we really want to coordinate the organizations working within the park to accomplish important projects and mobilize the community, this community that we're growing, to help bolster the entire park system and advocate for the system as a whole. And the final pillar is accessibility. Our goal here is that our partners will report an increase in accessibility for the constituents that they serve. And here we're focusing on developing digital and printed materials that provide the community information about park resources, because if you don't know, you're not going to be able to enjoy. Focus on wayfinding projects within the park so that once people are here, they can find out all the other resources and find their ways around, and prioritize bicycle and pedestrian projects, because everybody, no matter what they're doing, needs to get to the park and get around. So our next steps to carry this forward: relationships and partnerships take time, and they take people, and we have to build trust, and we have to meet people where they are. So one of our first steps is actually hiring more staff so that we have the time to do this work, because it's going to take time. Building that feedback model, the advisory group, that is one of our first goals. Again, we've got to build that trust to invite someone to come be a part of that feedback loop, and so we got to hit the ground running on that. And then getting out into the community. So as I mentioned, we were at the Martha O'Brien Center, we were at the Kirkpatrick Community Center. You know, we can invite people to our events all day long, but until we get out and start meeting people where they are. This is a picture from our Park Explorers program, where we have made a concerted effort to be in the schools in addition to inviting the kids out to the park.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate your time. If you
I have two more slides, but just a financial report. Okay. Just, you know, we've been having really good years. We've had a lot of community support, corporations, membership, events. And as with everybody, I'm sure expenses are also up as well. Inflation, event costs, staffing. But I just wanted to highlight real quick the kind of the in-kind support, because one thing we've really been able to do as advocates out in the community is garner in-kind support for the park. And the volunteer hours alone are priceless, really. And then just looking ahead real quick, we're still working on our Shelby Commons project. We've raised over $4 million, including the city's contribution to date. We'll be out at Tomato Fest on Saturday, so you can stop by, soliciting more community input. And the Nature Play project that you all approved earlier in this spring will get under construction in the fall. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Yeah. I was going to say, if you want to provide us with that, we didn't have it in our packet. Or I missed it. Your presentation.
Oh, yeah. No. Okay. Presentation, okay. Also the strategic plan, any information. Yeah.
We do have the financials. Are there any questions?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. We're moving now to Friends of Fort Negley to present an annual update to the board. Cyril Stewart. That's not Cyril Stewart.
Cyril Stewart is ours town. I'm Lynn Maddox, a member of the board. Celeste Malone, a member of the board. B. Thompson, a member of the board. We're honored to be here. Thank you all so much for letting us make this presentation, which the PowerPoint was created by Celeste, so thank you so much. And let's see. There we go. We were founded in 2013, and our mission is to protect, preserve, and promote Fort Negley Park. Our board of directors is led by Cyril Stewart, and we have a very strong board, and we are adding members as we go. Our agenda today, we want to talk about our financial update, our volunteer support, our fundraising efforts, and our community outreach. Our gift shop brings in sales, and we have donations from our memberships, and we have some grants received. Right now, we're waiting for the master plan to be implemented, so we're not really doing much fundraising at the moment. Volunteer support, we have lots of volunteer committees. Did I go too far? Oh, sorry. Volunteer committees, communications, fossil, landscape and garden, events, garden, gift shop, membership. We have had 157 volunteers, 25 events, and they've given 516 hours, and that's in 2014 so far. 2024. Maybe you should do this. Fundraising efforts. Gift shop and donations. We have an advisory committee led by Kix Brooks. We are starting to help raise money for the green property, which the city hopes to purchase by the end of the year. We are in the early processes of creating a Fort Negley Park coffee table book, which we hope to have ready by the time the park will open up, and we have a membership committee. Community outreach, it's a beloved historical landmark, and it also serves as a cultural hub for the community in many ways. To date, we have organized and executed 25 events ranging from our popular fossil digs to flag placements. It's been a year of innovation as we have partnered with local videographer on a documentary of historical Bass Street. And this is a picture of our flag planting, which takes place at the end of October every year. We honor the 2,771 self-emancipated, enslaved, and free Black Americans who transformed St. Cloud Hill into an imposing stone fortress 162 years ago. This is a picture of some of the gardens that surround the Visitor Center. We've invested in beautifying the Visitor Center garden over the last 5 years. A big thank you to Randall Lance for supplying annual mulch and ensuring irrigation to keep the place looking good even in the hottest of months. We have the Nashville mustard flowers. This is a picture by Joanna Brichetto. We partnered with Joe to highlight this Nashville native plant that paints the park entrance in gold each spring. Joe believes that Fort Negley and a handful of other metro parks are the largest remaining patches left. The Bass Street documentary, What Happened to Bass Street? An investigation of the Bass Street neighborhood formed by Black Civil War veterans at the foot of Fort Negley Park, kicked off the Juneteenth celebration at Fort Negley Park on June 19th. Descendants, experts, park staff, friends of Fort Negley Park, and everyone else working on the master plan were in attendance, using this time to form and strengthen key community relationships, bringing back into focus this history as told by the descendants and the experts who kept the memory of this site alive. A special thank you to Nashville Metro Parks, the Friends of Fort Negley Park, and Vanderbilt University Community Relations. On June 10th, over 5,000 people attended Nashville's official Juneteenth celebration. The Friends of Fort Negley Park offered tours to give more opportunities for people to learn about this sacred site. Board members and friends shared their passion for Fort Negley Park. It was just a tremendous, tremendous success. Upcoming, we have a Path to Freedom lecture on Saturday, September 28th. Dr. Margaret Washington will be our speaker. It brings in renowned historians every year, and that's on September 28th. We will also be celebrating the Battle of Nashville's 160th anniversary in December. And a huge thank you to the wonderful park staff, Tracy Harris, Natalie Bell, Andrew Spicer, you all, the Parks and Board Director Odom, and all Parks and Rec staff. So thank you all so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board? I just want to say the young youth that was here earlier said the land remembers the history there. And so I just want to, for me personally, say thank you for activating that space in the ways that you have. It's been activated, but in the ways that you have, celebrating Juneteenth and other things, giving that back to Nashville and to our visitors alike. And so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
All righty, we'll move now to capital projects update. We'll have a written report. You have that in your possession. Greenways open space update is a written report. You have that in your possession. We'll move now to upcoming special activities and events with Jackie Jones.
One of my coworkers told me to keep it short and make it quick, so I'm going to try to do I'm going to try to do that. So, beginning tonight, we have Nights Out Against Crime at 3 of our parks. One is Hadley, one is at Bellevue, and one is at Southeast. Generally speaking, they start anywhere from 5 and go on to 7 p.m. For those of you who may not be familiar with what Night Out Against Crime is designed to do, it's designed to increase the public awareness and crime prevention, and it's also designed to send a message to those people in the neighborhood who don't have the best interest of the community at hand that someone is there to address those issues. Okay, so on Friday, this coming Friday, we have the Tennessee Craft Mid-State Exhibit Gallery opening from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Centennial Arts Center. Then on August 10th, there are 2 field days at 2 parks. One is the Sunshine and Shenanigans Field Day from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Watkins Park. And then there is the Adult Field Day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Hartman Park. Then we have the Full Moon Pickin' Party is at Warner Park on August 16th, while Centennial Park is a location of what is becoming regionally famous, our big band dances. Hadley Park is a location for the annual Silence the Violence Festival, which is slated from 10 a.m. To 6 p.m. also on Saturday. We also have on the 24th, the Music City Brewers Fest. That's at Walk of Fame Park. And then we have the Cornelia Air Park Concerts, also scheduled on the 24th, and that will be going on from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. And I want to just say something real quickly about Parks and Recreation Month. We had a very successful 31 days. I want to thank all of you for participating. We kicked off, or we started, the whole celebration of Parks and Recreation Month with a video, a PSA, if you will, from the mayor. We went on to a proclamation signed by the mayor and read in council designating July as Parks and Recreation Month. We had participation in the mayor's weekly media briefings. We did online videos and stories profiling our programs, senior staff, news stories, and more. And I really want to take this chance to thank Raina Mitchell, our public information representative, for putting all of this together. She spearheaded all of the online events, doing everything from planning to shooting videos, to writing copy, to posting, and most importantly, engaging with our constituency online. So a big shout out to her. Later this week, we'll send you, all of you guys, links to all of the stories, all of the videos, and everything that we did online, so you'll have an opportunity to really see what we're all about. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? All righty, moving now to the report of the director. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you so much. And to echo Jackie, thank you all for your support during helping us celebrate Parks and Recreation Month last month. As Jackie stated, it was very well received, and I hope that everyone will continue to enjoy our parks, greenways, and facilities throughout the year. Our neighborhood community centers have returned as of today to in-school hours. because school is back in. They did not take a break. They went from summer enrichment program right to after-school program. So we are back on those in-school hours, which at our neighborhood centers is 12 to 8:30. We participated in the Cyber Senior Program graduation a couple weeks ago at Elizabeth Community Center. That's a computer literacy program, a partnership with Nashville Public Library where that partners seniors and teenagers to learn about technology. It was just a wonderful, wonderful program, and we're happy to support that. As you may recall, we received in this year's operating budget $250,000 for additional community center programming at Napier Community Center. Our team is working on that. We hope to roll out that first piece of programming in October. We're working to develop technology rooms at Coleman and McFerrin Community Centers, thanks to Digital Divide grants from the Titans Foundation. And when we have dates firmed for those ribbon cuttings, we'll make sure that you know about those. The splash pad and reflecting pools at Public Square are under construction, and the additional lighting project at that same location at Public Square Park should be completed by August 15th. The Centennial Band Shell, which is a popular venue for reservations, has been renovated. That is complete. We are working with John Holmes, Shanita White, and Stevon Nellums on cash handling process improvements for our department. I want to give a special thanks to Misty Adfield and Nethraja Rajaram. Did I say Nene's last name right? Okay, Nene. Thank you, Nene. I was trying to be more formal. Nevertheless, want to give a special thanks to both Misty and Nene for their contributions to, working with our team internally to, again, make those process improvements for cash handling and internal controls. We are in the midst of a department-wide fee review. I think I've told you about that. Our working group expects to have recommendations to you all for review either by December or January 2025 to look at all of the fees or recommended fees across the park system. And I myself have upcoming meetings with the Conservancy, the Friends of Shelby Park, Adventure Science Center, and Friends of Mill Ridge about parks projects. That concludes my report for now. I'm sure I'll follow up with an email to y'all about something, but do you have any questions?
All righty, thank you. Thank you, Director Odom. We are moving to our announcements and requests for future agenda items. We have one item that I am aware of. Our September meeting falls in the September 3rd after the Labor Day holiday, and it's just needed to know if we need to move that date. We do have several items that have been deferred that we will have to take up in committee. So it's looking like about an 11 a.m. start for those deferred items. And so September 3rd, okay or nah? Please look at your calendars. I am available.
I'm available at present.
No.
Nothing's on my calendar today.
That's right.
Things could change. So Labor Day works? Okay, so we will meet again on our regularly scheduled date. Is there any other items that need to be added or any announcements? Announcement? Quickly. September 3rd. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to send good thoughts and well wishes to all of our students, parents, and teachers as they begin the new school year today. Congratulations and Godspeed.
Yeah. Amen. Thank you so much. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Have a good day. We're adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.